A long-awaited movie has arrived in Ukraine. The trial, the state of Russia versus Oleg Senцов, how to overcome fear and to make a choice. Stay with us to find out how the Russian documentary filmmaker Askольда Kурov made a movie about a Ukrainian prisoner and why Franz Kafka's absurdism is essential in understanding present-day Russia. I must tell everything about the case, either as Oleg's friend or as a documentary maker. I decided to act as a documentary filmmaker. Askольda Kуров is a Russian documentary filmmaker. The main angle of his works concerns the problems of human rights and social conflicts in modern Russia. The importance of documentaries increases with every year, and the audience is ever more interested in such films. The Docudays UA International Human Rights Documentary Film Festival is popular among both talented filmmakers from all over the world and its diverse audience. During the week-long festival, everyone can decide which documentaries they will have time to watch, carefully planning not to miss the best works. Nonetheless, there are a couple of must-see films. And you know, the documentary genre is valuable because it often shows and tells not only what happened, but how it happened. The Kiev Cinema House is overcrowded because in a couple of moments a special screening of Askольda Kurov's film, The Trial, the State of Russia versus Oleg Senцов, will begin. The international community of filmmakers tries to free the imprisoned Ukrainian film director. This became a matter of professional honor to the European Film Academy. During the 67th Berlinale, the movie about the imprisoned Ukrainian director Oleg Senцов was shown to the entire world. The premiere in Berlin went very well. We had a full house. There were representatives of the European Film Academy and a flash mob gathering signatures to support the petition to free Oleg Senцov. Of course, the documentary received a strong emotional response. Everybody talked about how the fight for Senцov's freedom must continue. The documentary took a long time to make, as gathering the material was difficult. The documentary was produced by joint efforts of Estonia, Poland and the Czech Republic. The film's director, Askольda Kуров, hopes that the foreign origin of the movie will allow him to avoid the censorship traps in Russia in order that the trial be shown to Russian viewers. The filming team had a hard job and they've successfully completed it. Oleg Senцov himself is delighted the most, Kurov assures. From the beginning, he knew that a movie is being made. He knows that the film is finished and that it was screened in Berlin. He congratulated us. Almost all major European film festivals have seen performances in support of the imprisoned Crimean film director, but maybe the most moving was the Ukrainian flash mob, when everyone raised up signs displaying the hashtag #FreeSenцов during the Docudays UA Festival on Human Rights.
Приз гильдии за воплощение духа молодого авторского кино получают Олег Сенцов за фильм «Гамлет».
The first moments of the documentary are full of hope that all this will return to Oleg's life and he is going to visit film festivals again, win awards and be applauded. But it turns out that he will have to make a hard and maybe the most important choice in his situation.
Олега обвиняют, у него несколько статей. Это организация террористического сообщества, организация терактов, подготовка к терактам, незаконный оборот оружия, ну и, собственно говоря, участие в правом секторе, который в России признан террористической организацией.
И этот срок 20 лет, мне не страшно, потому что я знаю, что эпоха отправления кровавых карликов в вашей стране закончится раньше.
The documentary explores the build-up to Oleg's sentence, which surprised and enraged a lot of people. The Russian director Kurov was one of them. He and Oleg got acquainted when both were making their first steps in cinematography. I met him only once in Moscow, when he arrived to the premiere screening of his movie Gamer. The next time we saw each other was already in court.
Родился в понедельник, 13 числа. Наверное, того и жизнь проходит весело.
In the documentary, Senцov isn't only shown as a political prisoner. The viewers learn about his childhood, about Senцov as a person, his dreams and ambitions.
Хочу снимать кино. Снова переполняет, а бумага не так выразительна, как кинопленка.
The director uses parts of Oleg's narrations, which are voiced over the picture like memories from a happy past. This makes returning to real life even more painful.
Сегодня ФСБ России сообщила о предотвращении терактов в Крыму. Задержаны, как сказано, сторонники правого сектора.
When I discovered the details about the charges against Oleg, the attempt to blow up the Lenin monument, and when I saw the photo of this monument on Privokzalny Square in Simferopol, I understood that this plan is in no way created by Oleg Senцов, because he, Oleg, is a very talented and humorous man. The plan to blow up this poor, pitiful Lenin statue is absolutely feeble. Moreover, having the knowledge of how the special services and the government work in Russia, it is really easy to assume that this case was totally fabricated.
I would like to see Oleg released.
The movie presents voices of many internationally acclaimed film directors who protest the unlawful imprisonment of Senцов. The creative team undertook a colossal amount of work to gather the numerous interviews when the people wanted to show support for Senцов in just a humane way, not just for the sake of making a movie. For the Moscow resident Kurov, it was important to state the Russian filmmaker's position. It's no coincidence that he inserted a short dialogue between famous Russian director Alexander Sokurov and Vladimir Putin, where the director begs the Russian president for mercy towards Senцов.
20 лет, украинский режиссер, 20 лет лагерей. Умоляю вас.
No reaction, but Askольda is sure that it's wrong to be passive in a situation like that. You mustn't be silent, because you can't possibly know when it might work and when it will be the last drop. Investigations, documents, charges. How do you balance the material to avoid overloading the documentary with judicial paraphernalia and at the same time present the trial? Not once has a director had to tackle this problem. How do you make a documentary more emotional or strictly documental? You know, we thought for a long time with editors, producers, and with the co-director when Andrei Litvinenko occupied this position about the genre of this film. The decision was made when it became evident that this must be a film with all the elements, the investigation, the portrait, and the personal life of Oleg Senцов and the context of the whole country. The recurring thought of the film is about understanding the scale of the story of the Crimean filmmaker who dared to resist. According to Kurov, the protests and the pressure of the international community can achieve a lot, even the release of the prisoner. We need to maintain constant attention to this problem. Secondly, this is very important for Oleg himself. I just know how valuable our support is to him. He hungrily and meticulously reads all the news about someone calling out for his support. Some fragments of the documentary are all too familiar for many people, but the audience held their breath each time they heard the bold words of Senцов during the trial. I read the most recent published letter addressing Ukrainians as well. He said in it that he is a nail which will not bend and can be relied on. That is to say, he tries to support people even when sitting behind bars in prison. The director Askольda Kуров filmed all the sessions in the South Caucasian District Military Court in Rostov-on-Don. Kurov was really looking forward to doing an interview with Oleg Senцов because it is really hard to make a documentary about a person without direct speech, but it wasn't possible to interview Senцов. In the film there is not a single direct quote of Senцov's words. That's strange. In Berlin, during the film discussion, filmmaker Agnieszka Holland was present and said something quite impressive. She said that when she was watching the documentary, she thought this movie was not about Senцov, but a movie he made for us. And I truly thought that Oleg directed the whole process, including the documentary, when he prepared his speeches. Of course, they were aimed not at the judges or the prosecutors, but at those people who came to listen to him, including myself. I stood there with a camera. The speeches were dramatic, climatic, and contained the whole kit and caboodle of cinematography.
Драматургия, кульминация и, да, целое кино.
Critics say that the trial is hard to view as just a documentary. The director vividly demonstrates a system which can scare anyone, charge them and sentence them to 20 years in prison. But Oleg Sенцов didn't give up. He showed the highest degree of freedom and inner strength. Natalia Kaplan matches her cousin's strength. In the documentary, Natalia is one of the main characters. She is Oleg's main communication relay. She is close to him, broadcasting information about this sensational trial to the entire world. Natalia really did a lot, and she also impressed me with her stubbornness, decisiveness and courage. The documentary is very important for the campaign aimed to free Senцов from prison. The human aspect of the story is also very important. First and foremost, the fragments with Oleg's mother and children, when the arrival of the filming crew coincided with Oleg's phone call home.
Алло, да, сынок, да.
Well, as they say, the movie happened. There are moments which cannot be planned in advance. Well, they can be, but I don't shoot staged films. I just watch the characters, the events. I just happen to be there at that moment with the camera. This is one of the most emotionally charged episodes that is shown in the film.
Я соскучилась уже. Алина, не плачь. Алина.
Успокойся, надо терпение, терпение.
They are all very strong, very resilient. Looking at his mother, you understand how he became who he is. What is the essence of the Senцов, Kolchenko and other trials? The movie must be a key which allows anyone to ponder the arguments of the defendants in this case, which basically has become an absurd performance. The title of the documentary does not accidentally coincide with the title of Franz Kafka's famous novel. The idea of the reference to Kafka's The Trial was conceived during the court proceeding. The filmmaker said that it was born out of the feeling of not being able to influence the course of events. This case is very absurd. This isn't really a court proceeding. This is totally different process because no legal mechanisms work there. Evidence, defense, etc. There is already a goal, the punishment. You can't do anything about it. How do you fight fate, doom, and this uncontrolled mechanical judicial machine? The court machine exists beyond the realm and logic of evidence. The investigators stated from the beginning that Senцов will get 20 years for resisting, but Oleg learned to be fearless because he values freedom more than life, namely the freedom of thought and belief. Of course, what matters is the choice and the fear which he overcame, and in his last speech he urged all Russians to overcome that fear. Oleg defeated this inner fear, and when asked whether life or freedom is more important, he chose freedom. Maybe this is what gave him strength. Oleg surprised everyone with the degree of freedom he has shown us and inspired us with. It turned out that he is more free than all of us standing there behind bars.
Единственное, что я могу пожелать этой третьей информированной части населения России, это научиться не бояться.
Назначить Сенцову путем частичного сложения назначенных наказаний в виде лишения свободы на срок 20 лет в исправительной колонии свободы.
Askольda Kurov's documentary evidently demonstrates that the Russian viewer can see real trials in this movie, while the real ones are being staged. This looked like a theatre performance because it seemed that all the judges and prosecutors are just playing their roles. They don't have any right to decide or to have their own opinion. They were just leading it to an already foredrawn conclusion. I think that this is the very same process that is taking place in Russian society. The filmmaker confessed that this was the hardest documentary he had ever tried to make. It can't be just a movie. The trial, according to Kurov, is an attempt to get closer to the person behind the bulletproof glass, the person deemed guilty. According to his sentence, Senцов will be free in the year 2034.
Там есть кадры из Якутии.
There are scenes shot in Yakutia. Of course, we could not get inside the high-security prison itself with the camera. Only the lawyer could. But we have filmed the penitentiary from the outside, where the freezing temperature, climate and remoteness of this place is evident. And again, there stands Lenin among all this snow, ostensibly showing the right way. In Yakutia, it's already snowing in August. In winter, the temperature can drop to 60 degrees below 0 Celsius. The imprisoned Ukrainian filmmaker lives in a barrack in the high-security prison, where even letters rarely come through. But Oleg is informed about everything that concerns him, all the solidarity actions, official statements, the appeals of foreign filmmakers. Oleg was surprised by Johnny Depp, who voiced his support for Sentsov. Natalia Kaplan told us about it. Askольda Kуров has managed to present the viewer with a dramatic story about the character's fight and his spiritual victory over the enemy. The director found the answer to every artist's painful question. Can cinema change the world and save people's lives from ruin? I'll answer as follows. I do not believe that cinematography has this kind of global power to change the whole world, but I believe that cinema can change certain people, who in turn can change the world for the better.